So this is a quick note before the video starts. Most of the speed paint corrupted while I was trying to export it. So most of the video will probably be just a blank background. I am so sorry for that. Anyways, wait, before you go and tell me how she's completely innocent and how I'm a maple shade apologist, please hear me out first. Hello everyone, I'm Angela the Kidalga Woe, also known as Ronan, and today I'm explaining if frecklewish is a good person / innocent and if her actions were justified. Also, I would like to mention before I get started, this is not talking about if she deserved to go to the Dark Forest or not. That's another can of worms I'm not going to open. Yet. But in this video, I would like to talk about if frecklewish was a good person / cat, and if the actions she took were justified. This video is my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but don't go and attack me over this. Be civil in the comments or I will have to disable them. Now, onto the video. The reason I want to make this video is because there's been an issue I've noticed in the fandom recently. Ever since we found out she was sent to the Dark Forest, people have been woobifying her. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this, and people have been harassed over showing her in different lights and positive. But that's something I'm not getting into today. But I will talk about that in a different video. Trust me, I will. People have been trying to justify her action using some honestly gross justifications. Alright, so let's start the video with a small introduction to frecklewish. We are introduced to frecklewish near the beginning of the book. She asks Mapleshade about the father of her kits after learning she's pregnant from Beetail. Mapleshade says that she is raising them alone, and frecklewish asks if it is because the father is dead, and if the father is Birdface. Mapleshade says nothing, and frecklewish takes her look as a yes, and thanks her. After Mapleshade's kids are born, frecklewish and her father dote on them and say how they will avenge his supposed father when they are old enough, and Ravenwing says how frecklewish's brother's death hit her hard. Mapleshade's secret is revealed at first frecklewish sticks by Mapleshade, but when Ravenwing implies that the kits are half-clan, frecklewish attacks Mapleshade while screaming, "Is this true? What have you done?" She then turns to the kits and calls them half-clan creatures. Mapleshade and her kits leave, and she follows them to make sure they left, and leaves after seeing them fall off the stepping stones and seeing a patrol on the far shore, assuming they would be fine, and tells the clan what she saw. Nettlepaw tells Mapleshade, and she's infuriated that frecklewish did nothing. Mapleshade confronts her at Snake Rocks, and frecklewish attacks Mapleshade, but Mapleshade jumps out of the way, and frecklewish is bitten by an adder and dies 3 days later. Now that we have a summary of frecklewish's story, let's get on to the points. Frecklewish never truly sees the kits as separate beings. She sees them as extensions of her brother and weapons to claim his vengeance.
Ben, is that because their father is dead? She lifted her gaze, and Mapleshade almost winced at the blaze of hope in her eyes. Are these Birchface's kits? Frecklewish whispered. Is my brother going to live on through you? The air in the warrior's den was suddenly so thick that Mapleshade couldn't catch her breath. Is StarClan offering me a way for my kids to be accepted by their clanmates? I can't lie, not if I want them to know the truth later. She stared at Frecklewish, unable to speak. The golden she-cat didn't seem to need a response from Mapleshade. She nodded slowly, and the light in her eyes burned even more brightly. I'm right, aren't I? Oh, thanks StarClan. And thank you, Mapleshade. You will never know how much this means to me. I thought I would never be happy again after Birchface was killed in the terrible battle. But now I can help you to raise his kids, teach them that their father was a true ThunderClan hero, watch them take his place in the clan.
When frecklewish assumes her brother is the father, she immediately says his kids, and says how she will watch them take his place. This alone doesn't show that she only saw them as her brother. That shows up later on, but I thought this was noteworthy, so I just put it in the video anyways.
Oakster's broad dark brown face appeared through the branches. "Hello, little ones," he purred. The she-cat jumped at the sound of his voice. Releasing her tiny claws from Mapleshade's ear, she slithered onto the moss with a thumb. "This is Oakster, the leader of ThunderClan," Mapleshade told her kids. She tried to nudge them into a line, but their eyes were still closed and the smell of a different cat was just too much to resist. So all three tottered toward Oakster with their stubby tails held straight up, mouths open in high-pitched mews. Oakster gently herded them back to Mapleshade with his paw. "I'm not just their leader," he reminded her. "Birchface was my son. These cats are my kin." His eyes clouded with emotion as he stared down at the kids. If only Birchface could see them. Mapleshade's fur felt hot and prickly. "I'm sure he's watching from StarClan," she murmured. Beside her, the kids started nuzzling at her belly and fell silent as they began to sob. "My son was a great warrior," Oakster went on. "The clan is honored if his spirit lives on through his kids." There was a rustle of bramble fronds and frecklewish appeared with a vole in her jaws. She set it down beside the nest. "I took first pick of the fresh kill pile for you," she told Mapleshade with pride. "Thank you," Mapleshade meowed hoarsely. She wondered if it would be rude to ask Oakster to leave. His scrutiny was making her more and more nervous. Frecklewish turned to Oakster. "Aren't the kids perfect?" she purred. "I can see Birchface so clearly in each of them." "Excellent names," Oakster meowed. Didn't you want to name one of them after Birchface? Frecklewish asked. She sounded disappointed. Mapleshade didn't lift her gaze from her kids. I want them each to be their own warrior, she explained quietly. Not an echo of a cat that has gone before. I can't wait to see River Clan's faces when they hear about them at the next gathering. Frecklewish hissed. Mapleshade's heart began to beat faster. I wish I could be there to see that, too. Make sure you tell them that I've had 3 perfect, strong kids who are going to be great warriors, she told Frecklewish. Especially a Pledusk. Tell him first. The pale ginger she-cat blinked. Why would I speak to that mange fur? She growled. He killed Birchface. Exactly. Mewed Mapleshade hurriedly. He needs to know that ThunderClan is stronger than ever, thanks to these kids. Frecklewish nodded. Of course. She unsheathed her front claws and sank them into the mossy litter on the floor of the nursery. Our enemies have even more reason to fear us now. Oakster curled his lip, showing a glint of yellow teeth. It will do no harm for River Clan to know that they may have robbed us of 2 fine cats, but thanks to Birchface, there will be 3 more warriors ready to defend what is rightfully ours. Mapleshade felt a stir of alarm. The warrior code says we must show mercy to the warriors we have defeated, she pointed out. A Pledusk didn't show any mercy to Birchface and Flowerpaw. Frecklewish hissed, lashing her tail. It was an accident. Mapleshade wanted to shriek. Birchface fell. Flowerpaw should never have followed him into the river, but she controlled herself. She couldn't let Frecklewish suspect she had any sympathy for a Pledusk. Not yet. Oakster was starting to back out of the nursery. Right now, the most important thing is that Mapleshade's kids are safe and well, he meowed. There was a grim note to his voice that made Mapleshade's fur stand up. We will raise them to be great warriors like their father, Oakster vowed, and let them avenge his death when they are ready. He turned and vanished into the clearing, leaving the bramble wall trembling. Frecklewish bent over the furry little bodies and touched her muzzle lightly to each squirming rump. They are my brother's gift to the clan, she murmured, and the most precious creatures in the whole forest. Mapleshade's Vengeance, Chapter 2.
During this scene, they are constantly talking about Birchface, how the kids are Birchface's gift to the clan, and how they see Birchface in each of them, and how Birchface is their father, etc. And Frecklewish even gets disappointed when none of them are named after Birchface. Frecklewish and her father are more focused on Birchface being the father than the kids themselves. This would be understandable as they were grieving, but this is still unhealthy. They only see Birchface in them, not who they are. Then it gets much more concerning. Frecklewish brings up that she can't wait to see RiverClan's faces when they hear about the kids, saying how they have more reason to fear them now that the kids are here, and Oakstar agrees, saying how they will be ready to defend Sunning Rocks when they are older, and avenge their father. They're literally talking about using them as literal weapons when they grow up. Why are you bringing this up, you may ask? It's because this will be important later. This is probably one of the biggest things Frecklewish did wrong.
Before Mapleshade could speak, there was a flurry of ginger fur beside her. Frecklewish pushed past a cluster of warriors and joined Mapleshade below High Rock. We know it's Birchface. She called up to Oakster. Why are you asking this? I want Mapleshade to tell us herself. Oakster mewed, his voice soft with menace. She let me believe that my son Birchface was their father. I cannot imagine that one of my warriors would dare to tell such a lie. Mapleshade shifted her weight onto her hind paw so she could hold the leader's gaze. Any clan would be proud to have these kids grow up to serve them, she declared, even if they knew the kids were half clan. Ravenwing meowed. We deserve to know the truth. Mapleshade. A Pledusk is their father, isn't he? For a moment, the whole forest seemed to hold its breath. Then there was a screech of pure horror and Frecklewish launched herself at Mapleshade. Is this true? She yelled, clawing at Mapleshade's face. What have you done? Mapleshade stumbled backward. Stop, she gasped. She tried to raise her front paws to shield herself, but Frecklewish had pinned her down. Suddenly the weight was lifted from Mapleshade's belly and she opened her eyes to see the she-cat being hauled away by Bloomherd and Seedpelt. Mapleshade staggered to her paws. Blood pooled in her eye from a torn eyelid, and her cheek stung from a well-aimed blow. All around her, the cats hissed and muttered. Frecklewish shook off the warriors and glared at Mapleshade. You have betrayed my brother's name, she spat. You have betrayed us all with your lies and your disloyalty. You don't deserve to be called a warrior, and nor do those half-clan creatures. She curled her lip toward the 3 kids, who cowered beneath the ferns. Their father killed Birchface and Flowerpaw. Get them out of here. Mapleshade shook scarlet droplets onto the grass. Why does it matter who their father is? She demanded furiously. I have given ThunderClan 3 fine kids. I am a queen and I should be treated with respect. StarClan knows we need more warriors, and here they are. Have my clanmates gone mad, that they would turn against me like this? Oakster bounded down from High Rock and stood in front of her. His yellow eyes gleamed with hatred and he thrust his head forward until his breath blew hotly on Mapleshade's muzzle. Have you forgotten that a Pledusk murdered my son and Flowerpaw? Of all the cats, why did you have to choose him? You cannot possibly expect my forgiveness. He stepped back and raised his head. You have betrayed the warrior code and lied to your clanmates. We will not raise these kids within the walls of our camp, nor the boundaries of our territory. Take them and leave. You are no longer a warrior of ThunderClan. Mapleshade stumbled backward. You can't mean that. These kids belong to ThunderClan. You have to let us stay. Oakster shook his head. No, I do not. He gazed around at the clan. Ravenwing told me about an omen he received. A mysterious stream of water that washed 3 pieces of reed into his den. Reeds don't belong in our territory, and certainly not in the heart of our camp. These kids will bring nothing but danger. Get rid of them, screeched Frecklewish. Drive them out. Mapleshade's Vengeance, Chapter 4.
As soon as Ravenwing implies that Aptolus could be the father of the kids, Frecklewish attacks Mapleshade while screaming, "What have you done?" without even letting Mapleshade speak for herself. I get Frecklewish being angry, but she assaulted Mapleshade to a point that she had a split eyelid and a scratch across her cheek. She was possibly going to kill Mapleshade if Seedpelt and Bloomheart didn't intervene. She then turns to the children she's treated like her kin and calls them half-clan creatures that don't deserve to be called warriors. She encourages her father to exile them, being the first one to bring out the idea of the kids being exiled by saying, "Their father killed Birchface and Flowerpaw. Get them out of here." If she loved the kids for who they were, or truly loved them at all, then why would she be so quick to turn on them and say they should be driven out for who their father was? This shows that her love is conditional. She stops caring about them the moment they aren't related. She truly never saw them as themselves, but as Birchface, and so when it's revealed that she's not related to them, she doesn't care about them anymore. Mapleshade may have deserved Frecklewish's anger for going along with a lie, but her kids definitely did not. Yes, she did. No, this isn't a misconception made by Mapleshade. Frecklewish, in fact, says it herself.
Mapleshade, squeaked Nettlepaw. You're not supposed to be here. Then pretend that I'm dead. Mapleshade growled. I may as well be. Nettlepaw's gaze darted around the ditch. Where are the kids? He whispered. Are they in River Clan? Mapleshade felt the numbness creeping over her once more. They drowned in the river. Oh no. Nettlepaw's eyes grew huge. Mapleshade let her cheek rest on the cold dirt. Leave me alone. With a muffled meow, Nettlepaw turned and fled. Mapleshade wondered if she would ever climb out of the ditch. There was another patter of paw steps above her. Mapleshade opened one eye. Nettlepaw was pushing a bundle of herbs down toward her. I was collecting these for Ravenwing. He mewed. But I think you need them more. You don't smell good. Mapleshade. He peered earnestly at her. Please eat them. I'm sorry about your kids. Frecklewish saw what happened in the river, but I hoped you made it to the other side. Mapleshade sat up with a hiss. Frecklewish was watching. The apprentice looked scared. Why yes. She followed you to make sure that you left. She said you fell off the stepping stones. And yet she did nothing. Mapleshade rasped. Those kids were helpless. How could she watch them drown? Nettlepaw started to back away. I don't know. She must have thought they were okay. She said there were River Clan cats on the far shore. They were not okay. Mapleshade snarled, arching her back and sinking her claws into the mulch. Mapleshade's vengeance. Chapter 5.
This is where we first find out about Frecklewish seeing them fall off the stepping stones. I've heard people say that Nettlepaw was confused or upset in this, making him an unreliable narrator, but nowhere in the scene does it indicate that Nettlepaw is confused or unreliable when talking to Mapleshade. He is telling Mapleshade everything that Frecklewish herself told the clan. I've seen people say that Nettlepaw was confused because he said, I don't know. But what Nettlepaw was saying, I don't know too, was the fact that he didn't know why Frecklewish would stand by and do nothing. He didn't say, I don't know, to if Frecklewish saw them fall in or not. It was not a misunderstanding on Mapleshade's part whatsoever. Her watching them fall in is also proven at the confrontation at Snake Rocks.
Frecklewish emerged cautiously from the bushes. Her jaws parted to scent the air and her fur bristling. She looked puzzled when she saw the dead mouse. Mapleshade sprang out from behind a rock and snarled at her. You let my kids die. Frecklewish stumbled backward in shock. Mapleshade, you shouldn't be here. She arched her back. Leave or I'll call the rest of the patrol. Mapleshade lashed her tail. Out of the corner of her eye she saw a tiny flicker of movement from the pile of stones. Was that a snake slithering into the light? Mapleshade took a step closer to the rocks. Too scared to fight me yourself. Frecklewish, she hissed. You prefer watching helpless kids drown, don't you? The brown cheek had stiffened. I thought your kids would be saved. She rasped. I never meant for them to die. Mapleshade sniffed. I don't believe you. You're a fox-hearted coward. I bet you're glad they are dead. Frecklewish bounded toward Mapleshade, her eyes flashing with anger. I wish you were dead. She spat. You betrayed my brother's name. Mapleshade's vengeance. Chapter 7.
This basically confirms that Frecklewish watched them fall off. Instead of saying, I didn't know, or I didn't see anything, she says, I thought your kids would be saved. I never meant for them to die. She saw what went down at the river. She watched until a patrol came around, which is clearly a few minutes after they fell in. Just because she didn't see them die, or didn't mean for them to die, doesn't mean she didn't see them fall in. She saw them fall into the river, but didn't know the outcome as she left after the patrol came. If she didn't see them, what would she think the kids would need saving from? She then quickly brushes this off and attempts to attack Mapleshade again. However, this was not in the name of defending herself or the territory. She wanted Mapleshade dead. Drum roll, please. Yes! Nah, I'm just playing, lol. No, I don't think she's a good person. In fact, basically no one in the book was. The only people who were are Mapleshade's kits, Perchpaw, Reedshine, Nettlepaw, Myler, Birchface, and Flowerpaw. Frecklewish assaulted a mother in front of her kids, screamed hate speech and decatized said kids, and watched them fall in and negligently assumed everything would just be fine and dandy, bro. Do I think she's the worst person ever in the spawn of Satan? Nope. That being said, this leads me on to my final point. No, not at all. I'm going to give points I've seen people say on why she's supposedly justified, and I will say why I don't think she's justified. Point number 1.
Frecklewish was grieving and not in the right headspace. Therefore she cannot be held accountable.
This is wrong for a few reasons. Yes, Frecklewish was grieving, but that is not an excuse for anything she did. Grieving could make you do a lot of bad things, but you still did those things, and you still need to be held accountable. Grief does not excuse her assault. Grief does not excuse her dehumanizing and advocating for babies to be kicked out of their home. Grief does not excuse her planning to use 3 newborns as revenge tools with her father when they grow up. It may explain why she acted or did certain things, but it does not justify her actions. Point 2.
Frecklewish screamed at them as a spur-of-the-moment thing. She obviously cared about them. Calling children names doesn't make you a bad person.
This is extremely wrong. Even if it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, dehumanizing and hate speech isn't okay. Would it be okay if someone was drunk and assaulted another person because they were drunk? No, it would not be. It's honestly disgusting to imply what she did to innocent children is okay because she was suffering herself. It would especially hurt if someone who treated you like their own family called you something like that. Anyways, those are the biggest points I've heard, and that's my response to them. If you have any more you would like me to respond to, then put them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and let me know how you feel about the video and your opinions on frecklewish if you would like to give it. Thank you, and see you next time.